My name's Isaac, I'm 21 years old, and in the month of October, we cash collected in our business $86,000. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I was born and raised in London. Right now I'm in Dubai, and what I'm gonna be telling you guys today is the exact story as to how I got there. I'm gonna be going through the nitty-gritty, the ins and outs, the darkest times, the highest moments. I'm gonna be going through absolutely everything. And the only reason I'm going through this is not to gloat, it's not to brag, it's not to think I'm the best guy in the world, whilst being said, you should think you're the best in the world. I'm telling you this story, number one, to motivate, and number two, to educate. Whether you're in my particular space, I run a growth partner agency, or whether you're just an entrepreneur, whether you're someone trying to become an entrepreneur. I don't care, but motivating and educating is the objective of this video. That being said, where do I begin? I grew up in London. When I say London, I don't mean, Mayfair, Central London, the nice sides where I kind of live right now. I mean the trenches. I mean Barking, East London. And no word of a lie, like I grew up in a council flat, 2 bedrooms, a maisonette. If you know what a maisonette is, me, my younger sister, my older brother were literally in 1 bedroom, and I remember like dogs and cats would just poo on the floor outside our house. It was cooked. It was the trenches. Went to a normal primary school, but I knew I just wanted more, and I knew I was a pretty intelligent kid. So I remember I pressed my mum, I was like, I really want to go to a grammar school. Ended up doing the exam, got into the top grammar school in the UK. So now I'm trekking 1 hour, 90 minutes every single day just to get to school, waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. Enjoyed my time in school, but there was a pivot. And I would believe it was around the age of 14. Started selling sweets in school because, genuinely speaking, number one, I wanted to, put some clothes on my back. I wasn't gonna rely on my mum buying me stuff from Primark. And frankly speaking, I just knew I wanted to make my own money. But everyone knows, anyone who sold sweets in school, it's a very short-lasting venture. The teachers are gonna shut it down, and frankly speaking, there's not so much money you can actually make from that. But that is really the gateway path to making money as a young entrepreneur in London. After that, I remember I worked a in-person sales job selling magazines on the streets in London. And the funny thing is, now that I look back on my skill sets, that was definitely a pivotal moment for me. Think about this logically. I'm 14 years old, you're selling magazines to people who are walking through London, they're on their way to work, they're on their way to a business meeting, they're on their way to do something great, and you're just trying to stop them getting a 5 or 10 or 20 pounds off them. They're telling you to fuck off, they're telling you to piss off, they're telling you I'm busy, they're telling you I can't speak to you today. And so number one, that built the resilience, right? It built the resilience to know, okay, cool, rejection is tough, but it's better to just focus on making the money and the positives of what we're doing right now. But number two, it allowed me to build the skill to articulate myself and be super confident and convicted, no matter what I'm selling. And that was the beginning of my journey into sales, marketing, and entrepreneurship, really, because the fact of the matter is, we were in the trenches 6 hours, 8 hours, standing on our feet, walking around, talking to people every single day in the summer and on the weekend. After that venture kind of died down, I was like, what is next? And I remember, I'll never forget this. It was around maybe year 11, year 10 time. This time I was around 15, 16 or so, and I was broke. Didn't have a penny to my name. And I said, how do I put some money in the bank account? I remember Cash App. This is a funny story. Cash App were doing, if you sign someone up with your code, you get £10, right? And I said to myself, if I sign up 30 people, that's £300. And at the same time, I'd been researching phone flipping. So buying and selling phones and buying them on Facebook Market, selling them back on Facebook Market or on eBay. I said, if I can make £300 from this Cash App method, and then from there, I can use that money to flip phones, we've changed the game. We can do something with this. So what did I do? I made a hit list, 50 people in my school who I could just get them to sign up on Cash App, went round, and anyone who went to my school knows I did this, and I was able to secure the £300. With that £300, I started flipping phones, going Facebook Marketplace, buying these phones, selling these phones, buying these phones, selling these phones. And now I've got into the big leagues, maybe I have £1,000. And I said, okay, cool, what's next? Let's buy some trainers, let's buy some PS5s. And so I remember vividly, this was around A-level time now, that I was in school, in my computer science class, botting PS5s. Amazon would drop them, Argos would drop them, and I literally would just be buying and selling these PS5s, making about £100 a pop or so. So around this time, I'm coming to the end of A-levels, and if I'm being deadly honest, the entire A-level period, I had been much more focused on entrepreneurship rather than the actual A-levels themselves. And so in the summer of A-levels, before I've received my exam result, I'm reselling. And this is when I met my best friend and business partner, Peter. The funny story is, I'm outside Selfridges, and a random guy who is a friend of ours now, TJ, he says, hey, bro, I need to go into this shop. They won't let me in the shop with the bags. Can you hold these bags for me? I said, absolutely, no worries. And then Peter randomly comes and says, bro, what are you doing? Why are you holding my bags? Who gave you my bags? His friend comes out, little miscommunication, but since that day, we've been rolling around ever since. We were reselling, we went to multiple different countries, and it was honestly an amazing experience because reselling was that first venture that made me think, wow, we can actually do something here. We went to multiple different countries at the age of 18, 17, 19, and we were just reselling trainers, PS5s, watches, you name it. So now, at this time, the reselling summer is coming to an end, and I'm getting my A-level results. And I was predicted 2 A stars, 2 A's. I was gonna go to Loughborough University, decent university, and in the end, I ended up getting 1 A and 3 B's. I've messed everything up. And no word of a lie, I felt depressed at that time. But it all worked out for the best because when I went to Lancaster University, first and foremost, reselling was dead. So I said, okay, cool, what do I do next? Like, I've gone to a university 5 hours away from home. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm thinking, what do I do next? And so I start, discovering. And I came across a guy, Iman Gadzi. And everyone knows Iman. Everyone knows Iman. I'm in Dubai right now, he lives here. And Iman is essentially the grandfather of digital marketing and social media marketing agencies. And so he was perpetrating at that time, build an SMMA agency, start helping, local businesses with their advertising, with their marketing, and you can make a killing. I remember buying into one of his programs. It's a $50 program because I found it on some scammy site online. I went through the entire program and I was thinking, this is absolutely gonna change my life. So when I get back to university for the next semester, this is now January 2024, I believe, I've got an online sales job and I'm starting and pushing my SMMA agency. And I remember I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna pick med spas because med spas seem popping, med spas seem like they're gonna do very well, and I'm thinking I'm gonna be rich. What do? I go to Manchester and I am literally cold knocking. Door knocking, going to different med spas in person, wearing a suit with my proposal saying I can do Facebook ads for you, I can do all these services for you. I swear I went to over 100 different med spas in Manchester. Nothing. Yeah, we'll get back to you. Yeah, we'll book in a call. Yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll do that. None of them converted to a client. Not a single one of them converted into a client. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Either this business model doesn't work or I just must be rubbish at what I'm doing. Maybe it was a combination of both of them. So now, at this time, it's not like I've given up on my SMMA dreams, but to be fair, I was focusing on my sales job and studying computer science at university, playing some basketball on the side. And I came across a YouTube video where it was Nathaniel Messiah, a big UK YouTuber who's also a fitness influencer, and the video was titled How I Made 100K in a year. And the funny thing is, I watched the entire video, it was a cool video, but in my head, the only thing that was ringing was, this guy is the biggest UK influencer, fitness influencer. He only made 100K. 10K a month. Surely, number one, he should be making more, but number two, someone can help these guys to do it. So what did I do? I started researching and I came across Brandon Carter, Keto King, if you know him. He's pushing people and teaching people how to get, fitness influencers rich and fitness coaches rich. I came across a load of different individuals who are basically helping coaches coach, helping people who had coaching businesses, educational platforms, courses, helping them scale basically. And I was like, surely I can do this. So I came across my first client, fitness influencer with a massive following but was making zero money. Me and him partnered up, it was a commission only deal, and I just said to him, look, if I can get you these results, you just give me a certain percentage. And I think around that time, I remember specifically, it's probably like 15, 17%, I'm not too sure, right? But we agreed on the deal, and lo and behold, first month, the business makes 3K. So I make like less than $1,000. The next month, the business makes 12K and we're like, oh, we can do something with this. I renegotiate my percentage to a more increased percent. And then from there, we start scaling and we managed to hit $40,000 in a single month. From that point onwards, it was go time. I got a load more clients, all in the fitness and health space. And I was doing my thing, I was pushing, I was focusing on this. But if I'm being honest, the fitness and health space, especially for coaches and helping them scale, it wasn't the most lucrative thing, purely on the basis that fitness is a want, it's not a need. So in order to sell fitness, you have to either sell it to a very high quality ICP or high quality person, for example, a CEO who wants to get in shape, or you have to use like really high level emotional selling or have a lot of volume. But overall, it was a bit of a headache of a niche to work in. However, I learned so many skills from being able to market these courses, market these coaching programs, market these educational platforms. Now, after the fitness niche, this is when it comes into 2025 this year. I've secured some of my first few BizOp niches. And when I say BizOp niches, what do I mean? I mean people who help people make money. So property coach, trading coaches. And I'm like, wow, I'm in the game now. And this is when I made my most amount of money. I hit my 23K a month. This was in March 2025. And the funny thing is, this was in Dubai, right? So I hit my 23K a month. I flew to Dubai. I said, yep, we're live. We're ready to take over the entire space. The worst thing is, that month in Dubai, I lost a bunch of clients. The whole month was a mess. A lot of team members left, and it was just a mess. It was a combination of lack of focus from my side, but also there was a transition period where I was focusing heavily on one client who I really bet all my chips on versus my previous clients who were making me the money in the first place. But in the same breath, my business had kind of taken quite a bad turn. And so I got back from Dubai, landed in the UK, and I had a choice. Do I basically shrivel, hide, not solve the problems in my business, cry about it, worry that I'm not gonna make it, doubt myself, or do I just put my back against the wall and get the work done? That was the question. Because frankly speaking, at this point in time in my journey, I had no choice. I dropped out of uni the year before when I hit my first 10K month. I had no backup plan, no plan B. So what I did was very, very simple. I remember from that March 2025, for the next 6 months really, I lived in WeWork. I swear, I literally lived in WeWork. I lived in WeWork. I had my specific spot, floor 3 or floor 2 in the corner every single day, whether I was there 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., I was there locked in, working, honing skills, managing sales teams, making funnels, hiring people, firing people, trying to sign clients. I remember I went on a spree where I crafted a cold outreach list and I would literally pay people for consultation calls, right? Just to shank them, just to close them as a client. Honestly, it was a crazy period because my back was just against the wall and I knew I had to make this work because I was sick and tired of being stuck at the same income level of that 10, 15, 20K level. Like it was just draining. You honestly don't understand how it feels. And to be honest, maybe you do know how it feels to just be stuck at the same level for so long. It's the worst thing in the world. Genuinely just stuck. I was stuck at 10, 15, 20K level. I'd come back from Dubai. It was horrible. So I put my back against the wall and I said, okay, let's make this happen. And so after grinding for a consistent period of time and signing a few core clients, for example, how I signed my best client to date who makes 200K a month, Emmanuel, he's a financial advisor. As I said, I literally paid him for a consultation call, told him everything he's doing wrong. He was charging £50 a month for a community, told him everything we could do for him and closed him. And we launched Emmanuel in the month of July, I believe. And in less than 30 days, 105K USD cash collected. And so off the back of that, that was almost a snowball effect because number one, I proved a couple things. Number one, I proved I could get someone to 100K a month. Number two, I proved I could run ads to a high level, not just an okay level, a high level. Number three, I proved I could use the webinar mechanism, which is our bread and butter mechanism that we use to help scale clients. And number four, I just proved to myself that I could get out of that rut because of the back of that month with Emmanuel, right? Scaling him to 105K cash collected and signing a bunch of other different clients. I hit a 35K month and then hit a 40K month. And then I hit an 86K cash collected month and completely changed my life. Because simultaneous to this, I get a call from my friend Peter, who is friends with Tomas, who's also now a friend of mine and flatmate and a client of mine. And he says, yeah, like 2 of my flatmates are moving out of my Marylebone apartment. Do you want to move in? And everything made sense. I hit my record month. Immediately we take the opportunity to move to Marylebone, and I'll tell you for free, that was not an easy process at all. Because first and foremost, it's a central London Marylebone apartment. It's super nice, 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom. The rent was already high. So the landlord literally said, you have to pay 6 months rent up front. What did we do? We made it happen. But I had to pay 6 months rent up front. We all collectively had to pay 50 grand up front for the flat. And we moved in. And if I'm being honest, that was arguably the best decision I've ever made because that, number one, put my ass under the fire again. It forced me to make even more money and keep scaling and stay consistent and not just drop after a big month. But on top of that, it exposed me to real wealth and real abundance and living in London for real now. Because my entire life, as I said to you, I lived in a council flat. And then I moved to Dagenham, which is next to Barking, but still like not the best situation. And now I'm living in a central London Marylebone apartment. You know, it's a beautiful experience. But simultaneous to that, I had an experience where I was able to secure my first ever watch, my first ever Rolex. And that story for another day, but I mean, I'll break it down. It's very simple. So me, Peter and Tomas are in our apartment, we're chilling, and I get a call from my friend Mahiz. And he says, Isaac, my Rolex is here. I've been on the wait list for 7 months and my Rolex is finally here. Do you want to come with me to pick it up because you live in Central now? We're like, absolutely, no worries. So me and Peter go with Mahiz to just see how it is. I mean, it's a beautiful experience for my brother, who's my first ever mentor, Mahiz. And I was like, of course I want to see you get your Rolex, because that would just motivate me even more to get it as quickly as possible. And I remember we're there in the Rolex dealership for 2-3 hours or so, and we're just talking to the Rolex lady the entire time, chatting her up and just showing charisma. You know, she's just a lovely person. And of course, Peter asks, do you have a root beer available? She goes, I actually do, because someone was meant to pick it up and they still haven't picked it up. And if by 11 a.m. tomorrow they don't come to pick it up, it's yours. Then the crazy thing is, I'm like, there's no way you're gonna let 2 of my friends get a Rolex and not let me get one. So she gives me an opportunity to get this two-tone date just. We're waiting. The next day, 11 a.m. comes, we give her a call. She says, the watch is yours, come pick it up. We go pick it up and we've got the Rolex. And so now it's crazy, because in the space of 60 days, I've moved into my dream apartment, hit my record month, and got my first watch. And now you're thinking the story probably ends. Happy days, we're in heaven, we're in Netherlands, we're in flipping, it's amazing. And life is amazing. But if I'm being deadly honest, it also comes with massive trials and tribulations, you know? It comes with business being the main and only thing I focus on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. No days off, no breaks. It comes with working 12, 14, 16-hour days. It comes with massive responsibility, and that's another thing I want to mention. Because now it's like, I've got a super high-level team now. I said to myself, I'm not skimping out on my team. I'm going to invest in the best people. I've got super high-level executive assistant, COO, sales manager, head of marketing, back-end, creative specialist. I've got loads of closers in the teams that I'm managing. I've got high-level clients, and they, of course, demand and expect more, for sure, and that makes sense. So, for example, even trips like this, when we're in Dubai, we went to Abu Dhabi for the F1, it's amazing, but you know, you've got to work even more. So I know what the future entails. I mean, 100K is not really even a goal in a month basis. It's more in a case of actually building a tangible business that does 200, 300, 500K in a single month. And pushing content and building an actual brand. Because that's one thing I would say I definitely neglected in the period where I had to lock in. Didn't build any brand, didn't document. And I could have simply just documented my day-to-days, but I didn't. And so that's something I definitely regret. Also, I want to get closer to God and build my relationship with Him up more, because that's not bad, because He helped me severely throughout all my trials and tribulations, but I could be doing a lot more. I could be praying more, I could be reading my Bible more, I could be meditating more. For sure, I want to strengthen my relationship with my parents. And also, I haven't had sex for the last 2 months, just because number one, my relationship with God is getting better, but also there's someone I'm actually talking to in a bit more of a serious fashion, you know? So there's like so much to work on and so many things to achieve. But I know my life is a work of art, and I'm just literally painting the picture. I'm just working upon it. And I just need to stay diligent to the process. And I feel like I know I need to move with a lot more urgency and speed with what I'm doing, because there's just infinite potentialities and infinite potential as to what I can achieve. But it's just a case of me getting it done. But yeah, that's it. 0 to 86K a month, where I am now, and where I want to be. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was a bit more of a raw one. And yeah, the content game begins. Speak to you guys soon.